Yo guys, what is good? Assy once again with another installment of Quick Cuts, this time featuring Benten the Griffin. So let's jump into it. Benten is a legendary nature hero of the physical damage type. Skills: Passive. Counter 2. Benten counters upon taking damage. He will gain 1 mana if the target dies. Dragon Knight's Blessing. Increases damage dealt during the second phase of the element dragon by 250%. S1. Deals 240% damage to a single target. S2. Deals 285% damage to all enemies and makes use of burst. Gear and stats. My Benten is equipped with all legendary gear. Besides his accessory, which is at 60, all his gear is at level 50. I focused on attack speed and crit damage. These stats are pretty good for the gear he has on and should provide him with ample damage. I want to compare him with Otard, who has a similar skill kit on a different element. As you can see, I try to match up most of the stats. Unfortunately, I don't have enough faded gear floating around, which is why Otard's critical hit is a lot higher. However, I don't expect a damage difference between them. Let's go into PvP and talk about his viability in general. While he definitely can be used in PvP, I'm unsure if I would use him. I feel Otard has a slight advantage over him due to her having an FC, which gives her great advantages such as increased stats or the Awakening passive, which makes her a lot more durable. While you rely on crits with Otard to build the mana up, Benten will gain mana when allies or enemies are on low health. Both of them usually serve as secondary nukers or cleanup. Being that fast, they go before the mages, who usually create a lot of issues if they are allowed to live. Especially on defense, you currently have a meta with these heroes. A nuker, a lot of times FC Rara is used in this spot, Battery as a protector and a secondary nuke, FC Annie, an enabler for the first nuke and critical increase. Shufraken has come back into the meta and provides Fear of the Abyss and an additional form of cleanup. FC Iris removes the barriers and is acting as a mana battery. This setup is interesting in terms of having a fast nuker, which usually brings the enemy really low, and Shufraken's passive finishing the job. In case that isn't enough, FC Annie and Battery would clean up. If you're using somebody like Otard or Benten, your goal would be to kill everything that didn't die with your first attack or that is on low HP and presents a great threat. If this is viable or not depends entirely on your hero's speed and if the enemy would be able to kill you within their first AoE turns. PvE. I think this is where Benten shines. Especially with nature, you have a lot of single target burst. Unless you're using Rara or Janai, Benten is the best AoE damage dealer in this element. Benten and Otard are your only legendary AoE damage dealers with bursts who act before the mages. In general, your mages would deal more damage, however they might have already taken a lot of attacks due to their slow speed. In terms of mana generation, counter can be very helpful since you gain mana on an enemy's turn. On Nature Day, he will serve you well clearing through the dungeons. Quickly with his S1 and S2 in rapid combination. Being a head Dragon Knight also helps you getting through phase 2 effectively. Conclusion. I drew a lot of parallels to Otard, and that with a good reason. Both are fantastic for newer players or people who don't yet have the strong faded equivalents. While Fire has a lot of strong burst AoE heroes, namely in FC Annie, FC Scarlet, Sabrina, FC Maggie, FC Otard and FC Xeon, Nature doesn't have this luxury. Besides Xeon, all these heroes have a strong burst ability without their FC. In Nature you're limited to FC Gale and FC Rara. Gale is a lot weaker due to lower stats and multipliers, and Rara is an ultra rare unless you pulled on the banner before. I definitely don't regret making my Benten a 6-star and clearing through dungeons more easily than before. He could be a hero that you would consider for unleashed potential because his multiplier just jumps up to a really high value and having counter 3 provides him an extra way of getting mana. The additional stats also never hurt. If you have him, I think he's certainly worth investing into. With all that said, we are already at the end. If you enjoy my content, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and leave the video a like. As always, it was a pleasure to have you here and I will see you in the next one. Until then, enjoy the grind.